Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining Midland Pulse, where we discuss topics within the self-directed IRA industry in 30 minutes or less. During this session, Dan Hanlon, Senior Vice President of Midland Trust, interviews Garrett Sutton from Sutton Law Center about the legal side of LLCs. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Dan Hanlon with Midland Trust. Welcome and thank you for joining us today on our Midland Pulse session about LLCs. LLCs as an investment structure have become very popular within self-directed IRAs, but the internet is full of misinformation and it leads to a lot of confusion for investors. So today we're welcoming on one of the best sources of corporate structures, Garrett Sutton. For more than 30 years, Garrett Sutton has run his practice assisting entrepreneurs and real estate investors in protecting their assets and maximizing their financial goals through the sound management and asset protection strategies. The companies he's founded, Corporate Direct and Sutton Law Center, have helped over 10,000 clients protect their assets and incorporate their businesses. Garrett has also served as a member of the elite group Rich Dad, Poor Dad Advisors for best-selling author Robert Kiyosaki. A number of his books Garrett Sutton has authored are part of the best-selling Rich Dad, Poor Dad Wealth Building book series. So without further ado, let's welcome on Garrett Sutton. We're going to pick his brain and talk about LLCs.
Thanks, Dan. Pleasure to be with you and to dispel some of the misinformation which you mentioned. There's a lot out there. And, the LLCs are great entities for protecting, but there's just a lot of misinformation surrounding them. So we'll talk about them in a very clear manner here. And it's important for your clients to understand how they can benefit from these LLCs, but just also how they don't have to spend a fortune to set these up as well.
Yeah, I think that when people think about opening a self-directed IRA, is one of the most common things that they then face is, do I do this investment inside of an LLC or do I hold it directly in the name of the IRA account? And there are some advantages for certain investments with investing into an LLC, like if you're buying property at an auction or if you're doing a property that requires a lot of bill payments, that time is of the essence. LLCs, I think, can be helpful there. But there are a lot of booby traps that if you're not going into it knowing the rules or knowing the lay of the land, and you're just doing so because of the access to the funds that you can have access to, you can trip yourself up quite a bit. So outside of like the component of having immediate access to the funds, what other advantages, Garrett, do you see as far as using an LLC?
Well, let's look at an example. Say you buy a fourplex and you use your IRA money to buy the fourplex, and title at the county is held in the name of the IRA. And the fourplex cost you $200,000 and your IRA has $1 million in it. Now, if a tenant sues over a problem at the property, they can get the assets of who owns the property. So if the fourplex is worth $200,000, they can get the equity in the fourplex, but they could also, because the IRA is the owner, get the $1 million that the IRA has in other assets. So we don't want the IRA to be on title to real estate. By using the LLC, we have the tenant could sue the LLC and get the equity in the property, but they wouldn't be able to get beyond the LLC to the IRA monies, which we want to protect for retirement. So that is a key advantage to using the LLC when you're taking title to real estate. It serves as a block. It prevents someone from reaching your other IRA monies.
Yeah, that's a great point, Garrett. And I'm really excited that you're on today because Midland Trust, we focus mainly on the administration of the investment, how it works from an administrative standpoint. Who does the renter pay the check to, or their monthly rent to, IRA or LLC? Who pays the tax bill? What's the actual investment of the IRA? But when we start getting into some of these legal complexities, since our firm can't offer legal or tax advice, these are some of the benefits that you get with working with an attorney on setting up one of these structures. So Garrett, how would someone go about setting up an LLC? Like what documents are required, or And what's the difference between like using a firm like yours versus trying to do it yourself online?
Well, we specialize in this. There are a lot of online services that, yes, will provide you with basic documents, but will not provide the documents that you need for an IRA investment. We have a specialized operating agreement that we've worked with you, Dan, and Midland on to make sure that this document prohibits certain transactions from occurring, which you can run into big problems if you engage in a prohibited transaction. If you do business with a disqualified person, a family member, you can run into problems. We don't want you to lose your retirement monies. We don't want you to have to pay the penalties and interest if you do things wrong. So just merely going online and hoping that everything works out isn't really the way to go. And we provide a very affordable service to set up these LLCs properly. So what you asked the question, Dan, what do you need to do? Well, first of all, you file the articles of organization with the state. Then you and your attorney will set up the operating agreement for the LLC. The LLC is then owned by the IRA. And so we need to have a management company manage the LLC. You are a prohibited, you can't be managing your own LLC. It's a prohibited transaction. So we provide a management company to provide this management service for the LLC so that our clients don't get into trouble by managing these entities. And then the LLC is owned by the IRA. So the monies flow through the LLC to your IRA account and it accumulates there and for the benefit of your retirement. So it's a fairly streamlined process. You set up the LLC, you have an independent management company do the management, and the LLC is owned by the IRA. It really works out well when you do it right.
Yeah. It's funny though, I get this quite a bit. And I think that this is another aspect of working through a firm like yours is we always get the question, well, if I enter into this and I'm unsure of the rules, can I call you and ask you before I make any investment? And, since Midland at that point is somewhat a step removed from the day-to-day operations within the LLC, I think sometimes people are hesitant on holding one of these entities because they fear that they might step into a landmine that they're not sure of. Is your firm able to offer such guidance or assurance as to
right.
investments are allowed or not?
We will, and just know we're going to be strict. Right, we're going to
Yeah.
make sure you follow the law. You go online and these promoters will say, "Oh yeah, you can do that. You can do anything." That's not the case. You have to be very cautious on which laws that you follow, and I want you to follow all of them. So yes, we would provide that advice, but we're going to tell you straight out: if you want to invest your own personal money alongside your IRA money for an investment, you can't do that. Right? You can't mix personal monies with IRA monies.
Yeah, the rules of investing inside of an IRA account are extended to the LLC, and I think that that's where sometimes people have apprehension about using an LLC is they don't know, they're not knowledgeable, or and sometimes unfortunately we get people that set up LLCs because they think that they can that's a way of getting around the rules, unfortunately. But the rules of investing in an IRA where they list disqualified persons and that you can engage in what are called prohibited transactions still apply to the LLC. So Garrett, one of the questions that I get on a daily basis is we might have a client that's living in Illinois and they'd like to set up an LLC in Nevada or in another state. What considerations are there for someone that wants to partake into that? And what's the difference between setting it up in the state where you live versus a state that might be elsewhere?
That's a really good question. So if you invest in a property in Illinois, right, you're collecting rents in Illinois, you need to be part of the Illinois tax system. So you have two choices. You could set up a Wyoming or Nevada LLC, which offers good asset protection, and qualify to do business in the state of Illinois. You're part of the Illinois tax system. If something happens, you're going to be going to court in Illinois. So we set up either a Nevada or Wyoming company qualified in Illinois or an Illinois LLC by itself. It's really a judgment call. Now, if you're investing in Panama, for example, Panama allows you to use a Wyoming LLC. So we would set up a Wyoming LLC for your overseas investment, and the Wyoming LLC will then be owned by the IRA. So the choice of state is an issue, and we provide a free 15-minute consultation with an incorporating specialist. So you can call us and say, should I set up in Wyoming? Should I set up in Illinois? And in part, it's a judgment call. We do like the asset protection of Wyoming and Nevada.
Yeah. So Garrett, talk investors through. They set this LLC up. They engage your firm to set it up, and they have an IRA with Midland. So there's two relationships there. There's Midland, who's providing the ongoing custody and administration of the IRA account, and then there's the relationship with your firm. What's the ongoing maintenance, what from an expense standpoint, or is there any type of annual items that the LLC would need to make sure that they plan for?
Yeah, I have that here. So, we charge $695 to set up the LLC, and that includes the management fee for the first year. And then on an annual basis, let's say we set up in Wyoming, the registered agent fee, you need to have someone in the state of Wyoming to accept service of process, notice of a lawsuit. So that's $125 a year. The annual report, the money that goes to the state of Wyoming for the annual fee, each state has a different amount, but Wyoming's only $52 a year. Then we have a $35 admin fee for all the reports, and then the IRA management fee, so that we're the manager of your LLC. Rather, Midland does the IRA management, we do the LLC management, and that fee is $170 a year. So the total for the year is $382.
Yeah, and that fee, since it's a fee, or those fees, when you add them all up, would be paid out of the IRA account or out of the LLC account, since that's a cost associated with that investment. That's a common question that we get all the time. What if I just pay the fees out of pocket? You're supposed to pay those directly out of the IRA account.
Right. At that point, you'd be mixing personal funds with IRA funds, and we don't want to do that.
Correct. Absolutely. So as far as we wrap up here, Garrett, what are some things that people should look out for? Like, what's like the most common mistake that you see that if we have an audience viewing this today, you want to make sure that they avoid stepping into this one?
Well, there's this idea out there that you can have the checkbook LLC or the checkbook IRA where you can manage it yourself, and people get into trouble that way. You really need to keep the IRA management to Midland, and you need to keep the LLC management to this management company we provide for $170 a year. You need to stay away from self-managing these assets, and people ask, well, what's the reason for that? And let's look at the big picture. The big picture is the government doesn't want you messing with your retirement account. They don't want you squandering that, right? Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book just recently called Who Stole My Pension? And, the day is coming when a lot of pensions are not going to be there for us, including Social Security. So the big issue is the government doesn't want you squandering your retirement money in bad investments. And so that's why we have a self-directed IRA trustee like Midland, and we have an LLC that's managed by not you personally, because you could squander things at that level, but by a separate independent management company. So we have to go through these necessary hoops, but in the big picture, we're all working together to preserve your retirement assets. That's the key here. We want to make sure that there are the proper procedures in place so that your valuable retirement monies are protected.
Yeah, thanks for that, Garrett. How can people get a hold of you if they're interested in engaging your services?
Well, our website is corporatedirect.com. And if they want to call in for a free 15-minute consultation with one of the incorporating specialists, the number is 800 600 1760. So 800 600 1760. Just call the office and we'll set a time where you can talk to Lisa or Cammie or Amy about these issues. And we have worked with Midland before, and it's a great company to work with. And we're there to help you get through all this process. We want to protect you. Remember, we don't want someone suing your IRA over a tenant dispute. So we want that LLC in place. And we're going to provide this LLC for you at a very affordable cost. And we're going to have an operating agreement that is tailored for this situation. If you go online and try and get an operating agreement just off the internet, you're not going to find the operating agreement, the key legal document in this structure. You're not going to find that on the internet. We're going to prepare a document for you that suits this specific situation for your case.
Yeah. Thank you, Garrett. Well, thanks for your time today. I hope that everyone found this helpful and informative. If you need to reach Midland, our contact will be on at the closure of this video, but you're always welcome to email me. It's Dan Hanlon at dhanlon@midlandira.com. Thank you. Thanks for your time today, Garrett.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this Midland Pulse session. For questions or for more information on this topic, give us a call at 239-333-1032. We're here to help. You can also access this and other Pulse sessions by visiting www.midlandtrust.com/pulse.